this is Anshuka Parwani for Brut. I remember that the person who was then teaching Karina called me one morning because I'm a very early riser. I remember it was about 5 a.m. And she said, hey, I've called you because I know you're the only person who's awake right now. Unfortunately, I'm unable to go to this a particular class. Can you please go and do it for me? And I had no idea that I was going to Bebo's house. For a few seconds, I was like, oh, wow, I did not expect the biggest star in the country to be my first student and my first class ever. But I also remember that few minutes into the class, I completely forgot who I was teaching. There were so many learnings from her. I remember after when she just conceived, going through the first prenatal phase with her. So just sharing that everyday journey, whether it means, picking up on the little discomforts that people face during pregnancy, whether it was learnings about how the body is changing, whether it was the learnings of the different hormonal changes throughout the 9 months that we went through. And I remember then shortly after we had a very, very practical deadline where we wanted to get back in shape, but do it correctly. That is definitely one of her favorite asanas. She definitely enjoys it. Now, the thing is that when it is an advanced asana, I remember it was a moment of putting in a lot of hours to get there. So I remember when we finally achieved that asana, we were both overjoyed. And then shortly after that, Alia was carrying her baby. And during prenatal yoga, you're not allowed to get into deep hyperextensions of the spine. Now, after you have a baby, you have to first start working your abdominal muscles, making sure they are fused correctly together, because you do lose a lot of strength and the sort of flexibility in the spine and the core, right? So when we started building those abdominals up, the back feels tight. Soon after you deliver, you're also feeding for a while. You're also carrying a child, which sort of changes your posture as well. This happens to everybody who's really had a baby. So I remember when she first achieved it, and I did share it on my social media. People everywhere from social media and my students in the studio and outside coming to me and saying, hey, we did the Yaya pose. Again, we had to start from the ground up. And this is the second time that we've achieved this. Not only was she practicing with me, but she was also practicing to imbibe that character of being a yoga teacher on screen. So the conversations was extremely different. I sat down and really designed a program because I know that DP wanted to be the character 100%.
Forward fold and switch.
Although I've been on various Bollywood movie sets, I was always accompanying the actor as the actor's wellness expert. But I was never creatively involved until Gehraiyan. I remember DP and I working on certain choreographies for the film and realizing how the body looks versus how the body is feeling versus what is correct, traditionally and authentically, because we wanted to stick to that. So just sitting on that for multiple hours, doing multiple sessions. She enjoys a good practice. She loves her challenging poses. She loves the inversions. Again, if you see on my social media, we're always doing like headstands and handstands and arm balances. So we really sort of push the strength bar. Ananya never misses a pranayam practice at all. She sits in stillness and she's a very strong meditative practice. The second she started yoga, she just fell in love with the practice.